All right, welcome to the very first virtual meeting. April, oh, I just lost everything. April 27th. There I am, sorry. April 27th, 2020, the regular board meeting of the Forest Hills School District. Can I get roll call? Lana?
Mrs. Barber?
Here.
Everyone on mute.
Ms. Choice?
Here.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Here.
Mrs. Taylor?
Here.
Dr. Heights?
Here. I guess, well, here, I did this before. Watch this. Can we all see the flag?
Yes.
All right, so please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excellent. Okay, safety briefing. You're all in your own homes. I hope you know how to get out of them. But Officer Gecki is not available this evening, so you're on your own. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Alana?
Ms. Choice?
Yes.
Mrs. Barber?
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Dr. Heights?
Yes. Item 3.2, the Forest Hills General Resolution authorizing suspension of public participation. Scott?
Yes, we received notification from the state of Ohio regarding the ability to hold a remote meeting or virtual meeting and not be able to include public participation. It's certainly not something that the Board of Education wants to do, but given the circumstances and the authorization from the state of Ohio, that's a direction that we'd like to go this evening. This is considered a state of emergency, this resolution that was presented to the board. It's ordered that all K-12 schools be closed. We all know that. The Ohio Department of Health and the Center for Disease Control each recommend limited gatherings to no more than 10 persons in a single place, and that's why we are not meeting in person this evening. And it therefore will be resolved that the Board of Education hereby finds that an emergency exists with regard to the spread of serious communicable disease. And Section 2 of this resolution states it suspends its public participation policy, which shall no longer be in effect upon adoption of this resolution by a majority of the Board of Education, meaning that all that is suspended this evening, this is just for tonight's meeting. If it needed to happen in the future, the board would take that up at its next meeting. The next time we come together, if it is a typical meeting, we will resume with public participation. So I recommend the motion to approve the attached resolution authorizing suspension of public participation in the board meeting as presented in this resolution 3.2.
I'll make a motion to approve the attached resolution authorizing suspension of public participation in board meetings as presented.
Second.
Mrs. Barber?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes.
Ms. Choice?
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Yes.
Dr. Heights?
Yes. I was guilty once again of turning off my microphone. Okay, now we're to item 4, minute. We have minutes from the Human Resource Committee, Finance Committee, special meeting or retreat on the 21st and also the 22nd, our regular meeting on the 24th, and the Teaching and Learning Committee on the 26th.
I make a motion to approve the aforementioned minutes for all the meetings.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Ms. Cropper?
Ms. Choice?
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Yes.
Mrs. Barber?
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor,
Yes.
Dr. Heights.
Yes. Okay, now we're on item 5, correspondence from Board of Education Treasurer Superintendent. Mr. Prebles, do you have any correspondence?
Yes, Dr. Heiss, I have a few very good news items. This is from the Ohio Department of Education. It says, thank you for submitting to the Office of Exceptional Children evidence of correction for individual cases of noncompliance as described in your 2018-19 IDEA monitoring review, summary report and corrective action plan. OEC reviewed documentation and verified 100% correction of individual cases of noncompliance which were identified during their visitation. And so in bold letters in the center of the letter, it says, thus, Forest Hills Local School District has corrected all noncompliance cited in your report and has cleared all findings within the required timeline. So we received that from the Ohio Department of Education. Another good news report here is that we received congratulations from the NAMM, which is the National Association of Music Merchants. They recognized our community for its commitment
I'm
to
sorry, Scott, can you hold 1 second? Dee Dee, can you please mute your
education.
screen?
There are 47 of those in the state of Ohio, and there are 10 schools like this in the Cincinnati area. We received this award for positive student engagement, for the funding that exists in our school system, the volunteerism wrapped around the programming, the facilities we have, the scheduling to allow students to access these opportunities, and also for the staffing that we have in there. So we're very proud to once again have received the National Association of Music Merchants award for being a best community in the country for music education. We had some other good news that came to us from U.S. News and World Report. It's official. Forest Hills Local School District has 2 schools that earned honors as best high schools in the United States News and World Report's 2020 Best High School Rankings. They were published on April 21st. Anderson High School is number 10 in the Cincinnati area. Turpin High School is number 8. Both schools are among the top 7% and 2% in the state of Ohio. Both schools are in the top 6% and 3% in the country. There were additional honors that we received or that we learned of this week. We had 2 students at Anderson High School that received a perfect ACT score. We had 3 students at Turpin High School that received a perfect ACT. Both schools received a number of national merit kids in contention for the upcoming year. Anderson High School with 11, Turpin High School with 13, 24 students in our school system who will move forward in the National Merit Scholarship Program next year. That is significant. That is a significant number of students. And those 2 students that students, 2 sets of students, excuse me, that I told you about with the ACT from Anderson High School, Samuel Tilford, and Alana McClellan, and from Turpin High School, Jack Belling and Hannah Hazelwood and Elizabeth Liu. This came from the ACT. Congratulations on your outstanding performance on the ACT test. You have earned the highest possible ACT composite score available. It is a 36. Your achievement on the ACT is significant and rare. Less than 1/2 of 1% of all test takers earn the top score. So we congratulate all of those students. Another great job by them. And we'd like to congratulate their parents as well as the teachers who are all involved in that. So those are the correspondence that I received over the last month that was presented to the board. Thank you.
Atlanta, do you have any correspondence?
I'm proud to report that the district has once again earned the Auditor of State's Award of Distinction for financial reporting for our financial report ended June 30th, 2019. As we well know, not only must we continue to provide quality education for our students, we also need to demonstrate our fiscal responsibility and accountability to our taxpayers. So I'm happy to say that we have again kept up the tradition of receiving this award.
That's great. All right. Board members, any correspondence to bring up? Nope. Okay. Item 6.1, Superintendent Updates. Unmute.
Thank you. I think it's important to congratulate and thank our students, certainly our staff and our parents. The last 6 weeks have been very difficult on everyone involved, and everyone has leaned in and done their best to ensure that our remote learning, our virtual e-learning that's taking place in our school district is moving forward in a way that is receiving high accolades from our parents. I know that we want to make this meeting brief because of the circumstances of how we're presenting it, but I think it's important to update everybody on where we are with our e-learning that's taking place in our school district. So over the past 6 weeks, Forest Hills has developed, a comprehensive plan for quickly adapting to a remote learning experience. The 3-phase implementation plan included a week of preparation for staff, a week of practice with students, and a week of implementation on new learning focused on feedback but not on grades. After spring break, the teachers implemented new learning opportunities and have been doing those, and we are providing guidance on grading expectations for students throughout the building. So we're working with our teachers on that. Based on feedback from families, the process has been well received and it has been well executed, in my opinion. 793 parents who took a survey told us at 94% rate that their student was contacted by one or more of their teachers, and so we've had good contact with students. 86% say that the tools that we have are easily accessible and our teachers are easily accessible for students. 87% of the people that responded to the survey said that the activities and the learning that was taking place was working well for their students. 95% were able to accomplish the work, and of that 95%, there's about a breakdown of about 46% of the students could do it all on their own, and the other 45% were able to, or 41% were able to do it with some parents' help. But only 12% of the parents who responded said that the help that they needed to provide was really intense. So what we learned from that is what we're asking students to do is easily monitored and assisted by parents, but most of the work is landing on the responsibility of the students. So we feel good about that. Another one that we think is very good and important, because in this day of proactive communication, 95% of the people who responded to the survey said that they believe the communication is clear, concise, and they know what to do. And if they don't know what to do, they know who to contact. We've actually had our technology department, not in the homes, but certainly working with people in their homes to ensure that our students can access the technology and can engage in the learning. And so that's all very good. We're doing all this, as you know, in our 4 cultures. We have a culture of collaboration in our school district, and it's important for people to know that teachers are collaborating now. They're collaborating weekly, they're collaborating daily in their PLCs to design these remote learning experiences, and also to grow in their own capacity to serve students and create opportunities for personalization and innovation. So our teachers are not only working with students, they're working with each other on a daily basis to increase their capacity to be able to provide excellent education. Expectations for necessary adaptations are collaboratively discussed and implemented in consistent ways within our PLCs, and our K through teachers have collaborated across the district to create common learning experiences in the areas of reading, in math, science, and social studies. We want to make sure that regardless of where our students are, through the work of our teachers, all kids are getting a consistent learning opportunity in the home. Our culture of innovation is also important, and obviously in this particular time period, innovation is something that we are really in need of, and we're implementing. 2 professional development days were utilized to grow all of our staff's ability to adapt and create a growth mindset for innovation over the past 6 weeks. These have proven valuable as our teachers were given a significant problem with school closure, and they have adapted with their instruction accordingly. Those professional development I just said, they happened during this time. They did not. They happened prior to this time, and the things that we've learned in those innovation opportunities we are applying at this particular time. The learning design specialists in our school district and our innovation specialists have curated valuable resources for teachers to grow in their capacity to utilize technology tools to support student learning. So those individuals who aren't necessarily with students in classrooms, they are cultivating information, providing opportunities for teachers to be able to see the best of instruction, and they are sending teachers to sites where they can garner additional information that help them with their capacity. Culture of learning is our third culture. Teachers are connecting virtually with students on a weekly basis. They're actually doing it on a daily basis. We're really working hard to maintain those relationships, those classroom connections, and to support students in their individual learning at this particular time. So we want to make sure that teachers are assessing what's happening with students and leaning in when they see individual needs of students, opportunities to accelerate in their learning, and opportunities to maybe slow down a bit and make sure that they are fully aware of what is expected and what is available to them. Teachers are utilizing elements of personalized learning in the instructional expectations, focusing on student choice, on student ownership in their projects, and flexible tools and timelines. And in this remote learning or virtual e-school that we have working right now, it is important that we understand students have to be engaged in their work. So the full projects or the full things that we're asking classrooms to do, yes, we want to do that, but we also need to be flexible with the arrangement that students have at home, with the time that they have available, with the demand for maybe multiple people using one computer, to be able to be flexible and structure that so that kids feel good about what they're doing and that we are not interrupting the home in a way that makes it difficult for them. So those things are happening. We've had a lot of talk, not only in education, but as you watch the news, you hear about what the impact of this pandemic on our emotional levels as families, as individuals, and the stress that has increased. So relationships and wellness are pretty important for us right now, and they're becoming more and more important as we continue down the road of being detached from our normal circumstances with students. And so we're working vigilantly, and we're working with the partners in our community to ensure that we're touching base with students, and we are trying to assess where they are and where their families are, so we're able to help. But we have core counselor teams, K through 12. They meet regularly to organize ways to push information out to our families to ensure that they receive that. Lists are generated in all of our buildings specific to those who are maybe not engaging or not responding at the level that we would like them to. And there are layers of ways to contact them, even if by mail, wellness checks to homes where we have individuals actually going to folks' porches. We're practicing social distancing, but we're knocking on doors. We're trying to do the best we can to engage people and to ensure that we are connecting with all of our students and our families. We have telehealth services, and we've all started to use that as adults, but we actually have that for our students, and they're occurring with our child-focused therapists throughout the district, and that has been going on throughout the entire closure. The district leadership team has a plan, has a crisis plan. It's meeting regularly, that district team, with state and national organizations to review and structure processes related to the social and emotional challenges when transitioning back to school, not only right now, but what happens when we actually come back to school in the event of a crisis event at that particular time. And additional support to our families is being provided at this time through our TSIP programs. So resources have been developed to support families and staff and are being posted through buildings, district webpage, and numerous district communications. So during this time, even though we're working to manage where we are and we're working to ensure that we are leading at this particular time, we also need to remember what our strategic vision says, those things that we hold near and dear to our hearts about what we wanted to do in our 4 cultures in our school district and the cornerstones. And so right now, as we think about where we are as a district, we've gotten to the point where we've been able to get all of the equipment and all of the sort of infrastructure in place to ensure that our students are connected and that our families are connected. Our major emphasis right now is on a virtual closing of the school year. And you could imagine the difference of closing a school without having people in it as versus having kids in it and everything gets done. And we've all gone through this process, so we all have a sense of what the end of the school year is like. So we're doing that right now, and we're providing opportunities for our administrators to meet regularly. We have Google Hangouts just like this, where we're talking about the closure of school. And the best ways we can safely do that, honor the fact that our students, especially our seniors, have given a lot, and they are coming to the close or culminating events of their school year. And how can we do the best we can to honor that and provide some celebrations that make sense, that are safe, and are authorized, or I should say, reviewed by our health specialists in Hamilton County. And we're starting to also think about this graduation ceremony that lies before us. And we were one of the only school districts around who actually postponed their commencement, and we have it lined up for late in July. But we received recently information from the Ohio Department of Education regarding graduation ceremonies in our school district. And so we have not made a final decision on what will actually happen with graduation, but I can tell you that as we speak tonight, we're looking at two avenues. We're still looking at the possibility of an in-person in late July ceremony, but we also have this very restrictive guidance or recommendation from the Ohio Department of Education that I would like to read. And it says the Ohio Department of Education has been fielding several questions about graduation ceremonies and other end-of-year recognition ceremonies for students. Educators, students, and parents are questioning whether they should attempt to hold in-person events of this nature. While we understand the significance, tradition, and rites of passage many of these events represent, particularly for our seniors, schools should hold events virtually rather than conducting in-person events of this type, and record these events whenever possible and practical. Congregate graduation ceremonies should not be held. Additionally, we recommend holding a virtual or alternative recognition on the original intended graduation date or a date very close to that date. There's some other information in there, and it goes to hosting in-person events can lead to many other negative consequences, including a list of about 5 that they talked about, with delays in calendars, adding complexity of asking students to comply to social distancing, and these events can be very difficult. In-person events, even if only participants, can lead to other people, family members, relatives, friends wanting to physically attend, even though not permitted. So there are some safety concerns related to supervision and managing an event. And so there are things like that in their recommendation here, as well as the final statement. Therefore, school leaders should conduct graduation ceremonies and other recognition events in a remote manner that honors each student in a safe and responsible way, prioritizing the health needs of students, their families, and the community. Now, we have this strong guidance that's coming to us from the Ohio Department of Education. We have not acted on this in any particular way other than to continue to monitor what might be happening. And the governor came out today and he established some dates that are important of May 1st, May 4th, May 12th, and how the Ohio economy is going to slowly, hopefully, open up without a increase in the number of COVID-19 diagnoses. So we're going to monitor this a little closer. We haven't made a final decision. We haven't made a recommendation to the board, but we certainly have a pretty heavy recommendation that came to us from the Ohio Department of Education. And as a school district in the past, we've maintained a close relationship with the Ohio Department of Education, their recommendations. I believe it's a great organization and it offers good guidance to schools. We have not always followed every single Ohio Department of Education recommendation. However, in this case, the intensity of the safety and security related to health certainly adds a different twist than we're typically used to. Another thing that we're doing right now, and I don't have a lot of information because, again, we're waiting on more information from the governor, but we certainly are working on it, and that is our summer school schedules. So we have some draft plans right now of what we're thinking about in our elementary schools. We have a draft plan for what we're thinking about for 7 and 8 at Nagel Middle School using our Google Classrooms potentially if we go virtual. And we also have the APEX program that we've utilized in past years with our 7 through 12. And APEX, as you know, is a learning management system that we have used, and students have been able to manage that and navigate through that pretty easily. And there are specific courses that we're trying to decide which ones would we or would we not be able to offer. One thing that the board should know is that there will be summer school, absolutely no question, in my opinion, for our high school students. The others we're still monitoring, and we're trying to find out what's the best and most safe way to do that, and what makes sense for the students and their parents during this difficult time. But we will be offering it for high schools, And to what level, I can't tell you specifically yet, but I do know that we will have staffing recommendations for the Board of Education in May. Back in, I believe it was January or February, you already approved summer school and you already approved who the administrators would be that were going to be providing the administration of that. So those types of things have taken place, but we don't have an absolute number of the staffing yet on that. So that's kind of where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. And the last thing I will say is I've truly appreciated our Board of Education contacting me, calling me, texting me, emailing me, asking for information on where things are. What I most appreciate about our board is that they understand the circumstances that we're in, and they're giving us a little bit of time to do some research and be able to develop plans and bring them to you in a way that makes sense for everybody and serves our students first and our families. So we will continue to do that as we move forward. And I'd like to once again thank the staff, classified, custodial staff, all of those people providing food for kids and all the things that are happening, and our teachers for being able to turn almost on a dime and create something that's working in effective ways for our families. So we will continue to do that, and we're starting to take a look at what might be happening as we open up a school year. Will it be done virtually, remotely? We don't know that yet. So there's a lot of work yet to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. That was good. To be fair, I believe the ODE recommendation just came at the end of last week, right? Thursday or Friday?
Yes, we got that late last week.
Okay. All right. Any questions? All right. Board discussion.
I would just like to say that it's evident that our teachers are committed to continuing our students, giving them the ability to continue to learn at high levels. And I just want to say publicly that I'm so appreciative of their hard work, because we don't know how hard they're working, but we can tell. We can tell. So just to let them know that they are certainly appreciated.
I kind of want to follow up on that because as a parent, I have a second grader and a fifth grader. This was a huge challenge for me, to be frank. I know it was for so many people, but to be working full time and then suddenly have 3 kids in your house who you're schooling. I reached out to my kids' teachers, to administrators. I had to get technical support, and I was never more proud to be a part of Forest Hills as I was those first couple weeks. Just watching how everyone tried to find ways to support and was, looking for ways to support my kids. They were sending my kids emails to help them alongside me at the same time. And my second grader was on a group call on Friday, I think it was, and she goes to air, and their school counselor was on the call. And they were checking in with the kids, and the kids were opening up, and just there was a real honest discussion of support for these students while they're in the middle of this. And it was a mix of social emotional and a mix of educational topics. It was a beautiful thing. So I just want to say thank you as a parent and a school board member for all of these efforts, because this has been a monumental task and you all are awesome.
Well, also we're just so lucky, so blessed to have such great teachers, high performing teachers in this district. Doesn't happen everywhere. So I agree with you 100%.
Just to elaborate on what they were both saying, I was listening to Scott talk about the cornerstones and everything, and never before have I actually seen them come to life in the way that they have the last several weeks. The first grader, wrangling a whole gang of first graders on a group call. Like, I don't know what kind of sorcery our teachers have, but it is impressive. I have a background in instructional technology and design, and I know how hard it is. And to take that 1 week and all of a sudden become an expert in online learning and online education is just phenomenal. And same thing, you know, we've had our school counselors pop in on calls, the art teachers, everyone really. And there's been a very intentional, um, uh, I don't know, an intentional act towards building and maintaining the sense of community that the students have had. And you know, like Elizabeth said, I'm just so freaking proud of what I'm seeing of this district, of our kids and how resilient they're being. So just a hearty thank you to all of you out there making this happen.
Thank you. All right.
Well, I just wanted to say something about the board discussion part. I mean, I agree, my kids are doing great. I've talked to different people and I'm very happy how we're doing. Just these past, say 4 weeks, 6 weeks, I've just been struggling with getting the communication as a board member. And we have talked about that. I've talked to, Forrest, Scott, Alana, Mike, and I think we are moving to that. I think you guys all go, I understand you're working a lot. And I think we're moving forward and still trying to communicate even more and provide that communication to the public so that they're connected and current with information. And I think that we're moving towards that.
Yep, that's a good point. All right.
Yeah, I'll follow up on that just briefly, because I agree with you, Patty, and I think I even sent an email to you about this. It's been a huge struggle to stay on top of communication, period. I mean, there's all these different email accounts from work and school, and now I have to monitor the kids' emails too. I will be the first to say I've been tough to get a hold of for the past couple weeks between keeping on top of work and everything. But I feel like, at least me personally, and I'm assuming everybody else is kind of getting into this groove now where we kind of know what to expect. The kids' schedules are a little more normal. And honestly, the administrative staff has gotten through the weeds now. So I would assume that we'll be able to pick up a little bit better in the next few weeks.
I agree. All right. Speaking of picking up, we'll go to item 8.1, residency waiver for Elena Stotkowitz. That would be.
Good evening, everyone.
There he is.
I will go ahead and get started here. We have 3 items in business operations. 8.1 is a residency waiver for a Turpin High School senior. It is a request for the approval of a residency waiver for the remainder of the 2019-2020 school year per the board policy 5111. If a student is a senior in high school and his or her parents move out of the school district after the beginning of classes, the student may continue to attend in the district for the remainder of the school year and participate with their classmates, subject to the approval of the Board of Education. So the superintendent recommends the board approve a residency waiver for Lena Sakowitz, Turpin High School senior, for the remainder of this school year, the 2019-2020 school year. For item 8.2, we had this on the board agenda for March. It is back since we did not have a March meeting. It is the payment in lieu of transportation. And this is a motion to approve the resolution for payment in lieu of transportation for next school year, 2020-2021, as presented. So the superintendent recommends the board approve the resolution for payment in lieu of transportation for the 2020-2021 school year, as shown in the attachment that is provided. 8.3, again, was on last month's agenda. It is a motion to approve the insurance carriers per attached premium summary through Berry Insurance Group, starting April 1 of this year through April 1 of next year. The superintendent recommends the board approve the insurance carriers per attached premium summary through Berry Insurance Group for the period of April 1st, 2020 through April 1st, 2021, as shown in the attachment. That concludes business operations. I don't know if there are any questions, or I'll move on to the human resources.
Good. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Human resources. We have 2 reports. We have the March report. We have the April report. So the March report, couple items I would point out. Item A is the biggest one. We have Leslie Gates, a teacher at Wilson Elementary, after 35 years is going to be retiring. And I know I can speak that Leslie Gates has affected culture at Wilson Elementary in such a positive way that we're going to miss her. And I do know that they've already had a parade through her neighborhood to celebrate her retirement, and she is looking forward to that. So we say congratulations to Leslie. We also have a classified resignation for retirement. Carl Hasselbrock has been driving with Forest Hill School District for 12 years and is retiring. So we say congratulations to Carl and thank you for all those years of transporting our kids safely. In the March report, what I would like to do is go to item I, which is a memorandum of understanding, just to touch base, OPSI 177, which is our custodians, bus drivers, maintenance, and other individuals, has agreed in a memorandum of understanding with Forest Hills School District such that during this pandemic, when there were calamity days in the contract that lists as time and a half to come in, they have agreed that they will waive that and it will just be regular pay. So I want to say thank you to Gary Conway, the president of OPSI 177, for working with us, knowing that this obviously is a unique situation, and they've been great to work with that. Since the end of the regular board meeting in February, the staffing has remained the same at 787.64 FTEs, and the worksheet is provided for reconciliation for the board. The superintendent recommends that the board approve the personnel items as listed for the March HR report. And I will move on to the April report. The April report, item A, I will point out for our retirements, we have 4 paraprofessionals. We have Patricia Jones at Maddox Elementary is going to be retiring after 2 years. Marjorie Rice, after 17 years as an intervention aide at Maddox Elementary, is retiring. Lori Voss, after 17 years as a paraprofessional from Nagel, will be retiring. And Susan Walker, intervention aide at Sherwood after 15 years, is retiring as well. And we want to say congratulations to those 4 individuals. As we all know, paraprofessionals and intervention aides do a lot of work with our students in the classroom and just do a lot of good things with our kids. So we say congratulations to those 4 individuals. In April, I would like to go to item I again. And item I is another MOU, another memorandum of understanding. This time is with our Forest Hills Teacher Association. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we are not able to complete our evaluations in person. So this memorandum of understanding with FHTA and Forest Hills School District allows our administrators to complete all of the teacher evaluations virtually in meetings such as this. I can tell you there are not many that needed to be complete, but it is appreciated by the administration that FHTA is able to work with us to complete these evaluations for the remainder of the year. The regular board meeting since February, again, if you look at April's worksheet, the FTE count has not changed. We obviously have not done anything with personnel throughout this pandemic. And the superintendent recommends that the board approve the personnel items as listed, and thus completes my human resources report.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions? All right, we'll move on to item 10.1, revised dates for Camp Kern.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Heiss. First of all, I want to just publicly thank all of the teaching and learning team for all of their efforts through this crisis to work with administrators and teachers to guide and lead work throughout our district. We're very appreciative of all of the work that they've done to set us on a good path for instruction, and their daily work is really appreciated. And one example of the proactive work that this team does is item 10.1, the revised dates for outdoor education program at Camp Kern. One of the things when the school, we've already approved the dates for this year, and typically our 5th graders go at the end of their 5th grade year, so in April. Well, as soon as the school closure happens, I want to commend Bob Buck for his work with this in working very proactively and quickly to get agenda or get dates on Camp Kern for the fall for these fifth graders this year that were not able to go. We've secured dates for them to go as sixth graders in the fall. So we felt like that was really important, that instead of just canceling that experience for kids, Bob worked very hard with Camp Kern to secure dates for next year. So I just want to make this as clear. This is for those students that missed the opportunity this spring as fifth graders. They will go as sixth graders in the fall. So the dates are September 16th through the 18th for Maddox and Sherwood, the 21st to the 23rd for Aaron Summit, and the 23rd through the 25th of September for Mercer and Wilson. Those students who are going to entering fifth grade next year, they will go on the normal scheduled time in the spring. So we will have 2 grade levels going next year, hopefully. And but we're really appreciative of the proactive efforts with that. So as with anything, throughout the summer, we will analyze the guidance coming from public health officials and work with camp. Should anything change, we will certainly communicate that to the board. None of the costs will change, but at this point, the superintendent recommends that the board approve the revised dates for the outdoor education program for current fifth grade students.
Thank you. So hopefully that'll go through. All right, item 11.1, treasurer report.
The first thing on the treasurer's agenda is the annual resolution to accept the amounts and tax rates as determined by the Hamilton County Budget Commission. This resolution is actually prepared by the Budget Commission. It's their certification to us of our voted tax rate and the dollar amount that will be raised by each levy. By passing this resolution, we are accepting their calculations and certifying that we do need these taxes in order to operate. The authoritative source for this action is the Ohio Revised Code section 5705.34. Moving on to agenda item 11.2, there's 2 attachments here. The first attachment labeled Treasurer's Items March 2020 presents the February financial reports and typically would have been presented at the March meeting. Within this attachment, beginning with item A, there's a long list of donors there whose gifts have totaled over $67,000. These gifts were received last February. And as always, we are very appreciative of the donors that give of their gifts to support and supplement our programs. Item B is the cash activity statement that presents all revenues and expenditures in the board's funds through February 29th. Item C is the general fund, our 5-year forecast fund receipts by month and the fiscal year to date ended February 29th. Items D and E present the expenditures in the general fund for the month and the fiscal year to date, February 29th. Expenditures in the general fund, as you hear me say every month, are very stable throughout the year. So with 66.7% of our fiscal year complete at the end of February, we have only spent 65% of our appropriations. So spending at this point in general fund is tracking right where we thought we'd be at this point in time. The bank reconciliations and investments for February 29th are presented in agenda items F and G. Appropriation adjustment detail is presented in agenda item H. These appropriations are being increased due to actual revenues within our building accounts, student clubs, and sports exceeding what was originally budgeted. So they've raised a little bit more money and we need to increase our appropriation so they can spend that. Moving to the second attachment under the agenda item that's labeled April 2020. This attachment presents the March financial reports. So again, starting with item A, we see a list of donors whose gifts totaled just over $10,627 during March. Again, we appreciate these gifts. Item B is the cash activity account, which presents all revenues and expenditures in the board's funds through the end of March, so through the end of March 31st. Item C presents the general fund, the 5-year forecast receipts by month, and the fiscal year to date ended March 31st. At this point, at the end of our third quarter, revenues are where we would expect they would be, so we're right on budget as far as revenues as well. Items D and E present the expenditures. And again, at the end of our third quarter, or 75% through our fiscal year, we've spent 73.4% of our appropriations. So again, our spending is within where we would thought we would be at this point in time. March 31st bank reconciliations and investments are presented in agenda items F and G. And again, we have some revenues that exceeded what was originally budgeted. So we are asking to up our appropriations so that our staff and students can access those additional revenues. Agenda item I recommends that the board waive the May tuition for our early childhood and all-day kindergarten due to the COVID-19 pandemic. While we are still presenting services, we realize that the delivery method is different than expected and that some of our families may be experiencing financial difficulties due to this COVID-19 pandemic. So we're asking the board to waive the May tuition in that case. That said, I respectfully request that the board approve items 11.1 through 11.2I.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay.
What's the financial impact of waiving that tuition? Do you have that off the top of your head?
It's going to be around $120,000 for both the kindergarten and the preschool. There's a few other expenditures that we're still getting the final numbers in, but as you know, we are not going to need to pay subs for the last month and a half. So while this is a revenue shortfall of 120, we believe that we're still going to be able to absorb it due to other expenditures. So good question. Thanks for bringing that up.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Can I get a motion to?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve consent agenda items 8.1 to 11.2.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Cropper?
Ms. Choice?
Yes.
Mrs. Barber?
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen?
Have to unmute. Still have to unmute. There you go.
There you go.
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor?
Yes, and Atlanta and I, we went through this quite a bit this particular month, so very comfortable with what is on there.
Good, thank you. And Dr. Heights?
Yes. All right, now we are on to the reports to the Board of Education. I'm going to start with just so everybody knows that for the past, I believe, 3 or 4 weeks, I've had a teleconference with the Anderson Township and the parks. So Josh has been to a couple of them. Vicky's been at all of them. Scott Severs, Ken Kushner, Dominic, missing his last name, and then Scott and I, just as a coordinated effort as we're going through this to kind of make sure that we're all on the same page. There's been it's actually been a very good meeting where we talk about just things that are going on and bounce ideas off of each other. As you know, from today, everybody, I don't know if you heard yet, but Anderson Days has been canceled at the end of July. But some things, like we had not extra, but we had UV lights for sterilization that obviously we didn't need in our schools when they were closed, and we were able to let the fire department borrow them for sterilization of their areas. On the flip side, we found that as we're trying to have a nice separation of people, that if you have parks open but the basketball hoops are up, then it's hard to maintain 6 feet of separation playing basketball. So the parks actually took their hoops down fairly quickly. And then we found as kids were walking down Salem and with a basketball, and I believe it was Ken Kushner said, guys, that we took the hoops down. They go, oh no, we're going to Maddox. So that gave us a little heads up that no, we probably needed to do some things too. So just so you know, that's going on. It's a very low key, but just what's going on, and just a shared commiseration between the public entities. So anyway, okay. Item 12.1 is the Anderson Township Economic Development Committee report. Elizabeth.
Yes, I'll keep this brief. This is mainly, Scott and I have been on this committee for a few years. And at the first of the year, we brought the idea of the pools to the Economic Development Committee, knowing that this group tends to pool different resources across the commercial side of the township and the parks, and it's kind of the place where everything comes together. So we talked a little bit about our challenges and wondering if this idea might possibly loop in to the greater township needs for recreation space down the road. And the Economic Development Committee agreed to make that project one of their focus areas of 2020. So we had a call on April 17th with leaders from the school district, the park district, and the township to kind of pool our thoughts and catch everybody up on where everybody's projects are. And we agreed to talk again. I think it's going to be in the next couple weeks. So we're all well aware that the need for our pools is going to be quicker than we could possibly develop something in the township. But there's still a possibility that we could plan long term, knowing that there could be something happening that's bigger in the township. So, nothing promised. This stuff takes a while, but it starts small like this. And it's really good to have the right people talking about it and looking for ways to use taxpayer dollars the best way possible. So that's really the best update I have on that. Forrest, do you want to say anything about that, or Scott?
No, can everybody hear me? Okay. Elizabeth is moving. Everybody else is frozen on my screen. But I'm going to assume. Okay, everyone's nodding yes. All right, I'm getting some help by Adam, but no, I thought it was a good meeting. There was quite a range of different people and interests there. Obviously we have some bigger issues right now going on, as we're all obviously here. But no, it's good to get that group together.
Dr. Heiss, I have a Forest Hills Foundation update that D. Stone provided me.
Great.
The Forest Hills Foundation Board of Directors met via Zoom on April 8th. They were presented with a slate of officers and new board nominees that they will vote on at their annual meeting in May. They also discussed starting an FHFE advisory board to accommodate board members that are rolling off the board and other community members that can make meaningful contributions but might not have the time to take a full board of directors position. A few other updates. The Forest Hills 5K is now a virtual event called the FH5 Kind, 5 different kinds of activities to choose from to meet each family's social distancing comfort. This month, long virtual event kickoffs will start on May 1st in recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month. Participants will receive weekly family challenges, virtual coupons from our Forest Hills 5K sponsors, and the coveted Forest Hills 5K medal. Please look for registration. Those will be coming in emails. The foundation has been working with the school district, and I want to pause for a second and say that I can't thank the foundation enough for all that they have done to assist us with the feeding of about 160 students per day. And they have done this with coordination from IPM Food Pantry and Seven Hills Church to provide power packs and emergency food boxes to Forest Hills students and their families. They are extremely grateful for the donors that answered the original call for donations the first week of the stay-home order, and for those that gave last week during WLWT Channel 5's Day of Giving. Finally, the Foundation Board is grateful to all Forest Hills School District teachers and staff for their extra efforts during this challenging time. This is a difficult time for students and parents as we all adapt to the situation and our teachers, administrators, and staff have proven themselves to be true professionals once again. So that is from Dee Stone, the Executive Director of the Forest Hills Foundation for Education. And once again, we thank them immensely for what they have done to help us in this very difficult time.
All right, thank you. Item 12.4, Human Resources Committee report. I believe that's Dee Dee.
Okay. Yes, we have not had a meeting.
Okay. Next up, Legislative Liaison report. For my, I've been following everything like you have. The biggest thing that happened was at the end of March when the state passed its kind of its COVID bill. The one issue that we had talked about at length was the ed choice, and basically they just went back to the way it was, just kept the schools that were eligible last year and did away with all of the craziness that they invoked upon themselves this one, and then pushed it down the road further. Yeah, the other reports, we've all been watching the same TV and news with DeWine slowly opening things up. It's going to be interesting. I think I hate to say that he's planting seeds about what will happen in the fall. I don't like him saying, well, we're going to end it through the end of this year and we'll see what happens in the fall. But I think a lot of that become clearer even over the next month. So, but right now the legislature's not in session; they're not doing anything. Next up, policy committee report, Elizabeth.
Forrest, though, I think you skipped over finance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We didn't actually have a meeting, but I've been trying to get one kind of set up, and I think you guys all know that. So I think with all the changes, we kind of need to get our finances discussed as a total group, but also in the finance committee as well.
Yep, very good. Thanks. Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. Dee Dee, can you mute?
Yep, Dee Dee, you need to mute again. Yeah, that's a lot better. In fact, I think that's probably, yep. Pat, am I still on? Yes. Susan has your back there, Patty. She said that we missed the finance committee report. So that was item 12.2. 12.3 was the Forest Hills Foundation. 12.4 was human resources. 12.5 was legislative liaison. The policy committee. Now we're to the policy committee. Elizabeth?
Got it. The policy committee meets tomorrow afternoon, actually.
Okay.
Yep.
We look forward to a report next month.
Mm-hmm.
Safety committee, that meets in the fall and spring. I'm assuming that it usually meets in April or so. I have not heard anything
Dr.
on that
Heiss,
yet.
I do have a brief update on that. I received this from John Eckert this afternoon, and I think it's important. He's been working with Hamilton County Emergency Management Team. John Sherrard, the Emergency Response Supervisor, and Doug Witskin, the Hamilton County Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency. They have provided our school district with 1,000 masks for, when we do have circumstances where students may be coming back into the building and we have employees and so forth and so on. So we have received 1,000 masks from the Emergency Management and Homeland Security. So I want to thank them for that.
Great, thanks. Next up, 12.8 Teaching and Learning Committee report.
That's me. Sorry, Forrest, you froze. So we met in February, and it was very much a crash course in what the teaching and learning folks are doing, and we got to meet the entire team and everything. And we're hoping to meet again in May or June. Is that right, Greg? Yeah. And then we'll go from there. I imagine I have a laundry list of questions, and I'm sure you do too, as well, Greg. So I imagine that's going to be a very fruitful meeting as we start to discuss like what's going to happen moving forward as we go from there. So.
Okay, very good. And then 12.9, Technology and Facilities Committee report. Right, we did not meet yet, have we?
We have not met.
Right. And then we are going to, and using the magic of the internet, we're going to try and get Donna Lawver to give her Forest Hills Teacher Association report. Adam, I think you're up.
Actually, Dr. Heiss, she provided that to me so that I could read it to you, unless there's something that changed in the last half hour.
Adam?
No way, we're done with her. No. Yeah, that'd be great if she wants to do that. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I'll give her just a second and see.
So Mike, is that your trophy case behind you?
Yeah. Yes, you'll notice there's none back there. It's all plates,
Okay.
from Grandma and Grandpa.
Trophy dinner plates.
Clean plate club.
It's a room it's a room we never use. Yeah.
All right, Donna, you're on.
Well, my golf trophy case, yes. So, Forrest asked me, yeah, can you hear me here? So Forrest asked me a little bit back of.
You're on.
Okay. So Forrest asked me to kind of jump in here. I did send the report in, but I'll be glad to read it. And that way, if you have any questions or anything, I can, support that. Said, President Heist and members of the board, the last time FHDA presented was February 24th with our OEA President Scott DeMauro presentation. Today, I'm sending an update remotely. Well, actually, I'm here now. The world is much different than that day. FHDA has been fully supporting and engaging the teachers and communities of FHSD, as well as supporting numerous communities outside of Anderson Township. Our mission is very simple. 1, support the ability of the Forest Hills School District teaching workforce to flip itself inside out and make the impossible possible in less than 48 hours. Our staff move forward with leading families and students into the daily routine of remote learning with an open mindset and creativity, which all of you have been so gracious tonight to thank and move on. I appreciate that. And I know the teachers do and the staff. 2, FHTA is supporting the need. The association is supporting the need by making donations to Interparish Ministries, Claremont Northeastern School District Food for Families program, and we directly adopted over 30 plus teachers in that community with teacher survival bags and school supplies for primary students who needed extra items. People are running out of glue sticks and crowns, and I did say you should be laughing at that. There's only so much you can do at home. We did this by running items out that were those kinds of necessities for primary ages especially. Number 3, FHTA has opened our rainy day funds and is committed to over $5,000 to support local families and small businesses, teachers, and needy families in the greater Cincinnati area. We support the foundation and Interparish Ministries and will be hosting an additional virtual free store canned food drive May 1st through May 5th. This one will be in conjunction with Greater Cincinnati that also supplies areas outside of the 275 loop. We are asking for each teacher and our administrative teams and our community to donate $5. And if we all do that, we really feel like we'll be making a big difference in our community. Number 4, FHTA worked with OEA Legal to update, vote, and ratify our Constitution and bylaws for the COVID-19 situation, allowing our executive team to function and work remotely within legal frameworks. We have hosted over 6 remote meetings with over 400 people present. The work goes on. Number 5, FHTA was also selected for another Leadership Award grant in hand for the 2020-2021 school year. We intend to use these funds to support leadership and promote high-quality programs and learning that occur in Forest Hill School District. And I know Mr. Sears will be glad to know that I'm always willing to support the teaching and learning team as we continue our leadership development in that area. We have earned over $20,000 over the past 5 years in just leadership funds alone. Number 6, thank you to the district advisory team, Scott Prebles, Greg Sears, Mike Broadwater, and Alana Cropper for leading and supporting. It's very difficult work and challenging. And just like this call, being on the Google Hangouts and Meets, it can be a little challenging. Everybody needs to make sure that we're working together. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask or send them my way. We're all in this together and we are doing great things under difficult situations.
All right, thank you. All right, any questions or comments? Okay, before we go into executive session, our next regular meeting, hopefully, a regular meeting of the Board of Education is May 18th. I have a distinct feeling that it will be virtual. But we do not anticipate any action after our executive session. But we will come back on to this if you would like to wait for a couple of hours to adjourn. So thank you everyone for coming, everyone on Facebook Live or Facebook or YouTube, I guess. I hope everything went well and have a good evening.
Do we need to officially? I make a motion that we go into executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.2G4. I hereby move that the board adjourn to executive session to prepare for, conduct, review, negotiations, or bargaining sessions with employees concerning compensation and other terms and conditions of employment, and pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G5, I hereby move that the board adjourn to executive session for the purpose of considering matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or regulations of state statutes.
And also 3.
We have 3. Which one?
The one above that.
Oh, okay. Pursuant to Ohio, you consult with legal counsel, is that the one?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22, I hereby move that the board adjourn to executive session to meet with board legal counsel to discuss disputes involving the board and or the school district that are the subject of pending or imminent court action.
All right, do I get a second?
Second.
Ms. Cropper?
Ms. Joyce,
Yes.
Mrs. Barber,
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen,
Yes.
Mrs. Taylor,
Yes.
Dr. Heights.
Yes. All right, thank you, everybody. And we'll be back. All right, welcome back to everyone who's been waiting for us to finish our executive session. So, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Excellent. Second? I get a second.
Second.
All right. Ms. Cropper, please call the roll.
Mrs. Taylor,
Yes.
Mrs. Barber,
Yes.
Dr. Rasmussen,
Yes.
Dr. Heights.
Yes. Thank you
Dr. Heiss,
all.
Dr.
Yeah.
Heiss, if I may, for the record, for anybody who is watching in, Mrs. Choice, the Vice President of the Board, is having technical difficulty. It's not that she hasn't been in the executive session and participating all night. She just had a technical difficulty switching back to this meeting, and I want people out there to know that she's been invested all evening in these conversations.
Yeah, very good.
Very good.
All right, we'll talk
night.
soon. Good night.
Right.